Welcome to This Week in Missouri Politics. This week we are having our annual show at the Missouri Farm Bureau for their Legislative Day. Thank you all, this live crowd, for the hospitality. It's great to be a member of the Missouri Farm Bureau. And as we are every year at this show, we are joined by the president of rural Missouri, Garrett Hawkins. Mr. President, thank you for having us.
Well, we love having you.
And we get to make news, right? Coming right out of the gate.
We do.
You've endorsed a candidate for governor.
We have. You know, for anyone that knows Farm Bureau, Scott, and you've been a fan of Farm Bureau for a long time, you know how grassroots and deliberative our process from policy development to ultimately endorsing candidates that we believe support agriculture.
Why it's the gold endorsement to run statewide.
That's right. So yesterday, our PAC trustees met for their annual meeting. Big deal. Our trustees voted yesterday to endorse Mike Kehoe in his candidacy for governor. Huge deal.
Well, he is the one candidate. You can go walk his farm down in Jerome. I've done it. He knows how to feed cattle. Mike Kehoe, when you talk about agriculture, you're speaking his language, right?
Well, I think it's so important for candidates to have that relationship, the long-running relationship with Farm Bureau members.
Yep.
And Mike has been an active Farm Bureau member, been involved in our agritourism committee.
Yep.
You think about his time in the legislature as a senator, what he did to invest in hard infrastructure and advocate for the big picture of what it takes for agriculture in rural Missouri to truly prosper. He has shown that track record through the years, and that was where the conversation was among delegates or trustees from across the state.
You know, I thought it's been an interesting year. I remember at the annual meeting, you have Democrats now actively seeking support of the Missouri Farm Bureau. I like that.
Well, I think we can find common ground. We're all here to help people and to make this state better. Now, there are different opinions on how we get there, different opinions on policy proposals. We'll talk about health plans and things that we're pursuing. But truly, as an organization, as we think about how we bring the kids home, Scott, we have to find ways to build bridges and find common ground on the complex issues that we face today.
You know, I try to speak plainly. I've always been a Republican, but there was a time when this building would have been full of folks that voted Democrat. It's nice to see both. And it's not a Republican organization. It's an ag organization, right?
We're an ag organization that puts a tremendous focus on developing policies that truly we think not only reflect rural Missouri, but represent what we believe is in the best interest for the entire state.
Let's talk about one of those policies, probably the biggest policy the legislature has left. You don't read about it in the urban newspapers. It's not guns and abortion or something with gay people, so the media kind of doesn't pay attention to it. But in real life, you've got a bill to actually give rural folks health insurance that could change your ability to live on the farm.
Exactly. You know, coming again from a grassroots members, we've heard loud and clear that we have to do something to address this donut hole that exists in federal health policy of people, farmers, and those who are self-employed who have been left behind and are truly finding that it is unaffordable to get a good coverage plan on the marketplace. And Scott, I'm alarmed of how many of our members and others are going uninsured because the Affordable Care Act is anything but affordable.
Well, maybe it works for somebody, but it don't work for anybody on a gravel road. I've not met one person on a gravel road that says, I like this.
Well, you have 5 counties in northeast Missouri that only have 1 carrier. We have 20 counties that have 2 carriers. When we moved home to the farm, we had 2 carriers that offered 1 bronze level plan each. So what we do, we went on a short-term back-to-back plan, trying to make it work. Yeah, I can't tell you, as we travel the state, how many young farmers and just families alike say this is the number one impediment, the drain on the pocketbook, the number one risk as they think about the future of the farm.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I will put you on the spot.
Okay.
It's shocked me as on my show, I ask folks, are you for this? Why not? There's some rural folks that aren't for rural Missouri. And then maybe even more important, there's folks that run for leadership in these chambers, right? And it's a very important job to get. It's a lot of respect, a lot of power. But a lot of times we vote for folks who come out and say, we're against you, now vote for me. Are we too nice in rural Missouri?
Sometimes we are.
Yep, I think so too.
Scott, I liken this to an old grade school kickball game, okay? And before long, members of both chambers, I hope, are going to have the chance to vote and choose a side. Are you going to be on the side of real people who have a real need and a real proven solution is in front of you? Or are you going to side with big money? I mean, it's very clear in my mind. This is a black and white issue. We have a proven solution that's working in 6 other states. 2 more states very soon are following. Other state farm bureaus are looking at this as well because it's proven. Frankly, Scott, no one else is bringing a solution to the table. And for those that say, well, me too, or this is unfair, I want to say, where have you been? You've known about people who have been left behind, but yet you've done nothing to help us address the problem.
I'll tell you what the city slickers do when they don't get to vote on whatever they care about. They shut the place down, and they'll whine for 2 weeks. And we're too nice. We kind of say, well, that ain't the way to be. That ain't the way to be. It's almost time we shut the place because there is a supermajority in this state, right, of Republicans. There's also a supermajority of that supermajority, and it's rural folks.
Rural folks. And truly, I mean, how much better can you be when you say that you have the chance to vote in favor of something that offers more choice throughout Missouri? Isn't choice a good thing?
Is it time for Lincoln up just drive that tractor right up the steps into the chamber and say, we're not doing anything else till we do this?
He could. Yeah, hopefully Sandy would be right along there with him as the whole sponsor.
I think you ought to bail him out of jail afterwards, just the Christian thing. Let's talk about property rights. Yeah. I mean, I've never met a group of people like city folks that think everything that's yours is somehow theirs to tell you what to do with.
I guess that's one way to put it, Scott. This organization since 1915, the very first State Farm Bureau, from the very beginning, property rights has been at the core of who we are as we think about our farm and ranch families and the communities in which we live and work. Today, we are seeing the greatest, I think, trampling of property rights when you think about Clean Water Act issues at the federal level, Endangered Species Act. And now we have this intersection of green energy policy and where it intersects with private property rights. And there are folks on the coast that truly don't care about trampling our private property rights so that they can feel good about green energy.
What's theirs is theirs, and what's yours is theirs, right?
Sure. I mean, the frustrating part is it's okay to put them in America's heartland, truly the greatest contiguous swath of arable, productive farmland anywhere in the world. They're more than happy for us to continue to house the infrastructure that they want. But guess what? They don't want to look at it off the coast of Nantucket.
It's so bizarre. Instead of just thanking us for supper, they want to tell you how to farm, right? Now, they don't want to have any of the no. They don't want to get out and run the plow. They just want to tell you how to farm, right?
Tell us how to farm, to house their infrastructure that they want. They want us to, oh, by the way, disclose all of our climate impacting emissions, all of these things that they want, but yet they still want to be able to go to the grocery store or to a restaurant and be able to afford a meal.
Yeah. And if you raise the price at all, then there's a big problem with that, right? Which you have to raise the price because for all the regulations they vote for.
I mean, Scott, I listen to a lot of podcasts as I drive around this state. California's climate policies has resulted in utility bills being up 121%.
Yep.
1 in 5 Californians are behind on their electric bills. And guess what? Now to try to fix this, what are they going to do? They're moving to an income-based electric bill structure. Yes. Now tell me, one bad decision after another. And for some reason, it seems like we are hollering into an echo chamber here in Missouri, trying to get folks' attention in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere, saying, guys, we have the ability to interject common sense here to protect not only farmers and food security, but also look at a more balanced approach to energy policy in this country and truly look at this from a national security standpoint.
Is that what you're going to have to do? I mean, look, today as we tape this, beautiful day in Jeff City, I bet you all the solar would be terrific, right? You'd have all kinds of energy, do whatever you want to do. Tomorrow, it's going to be cloudy. In Missouri, it gets cloudy. Then you ain't going to be able to turn the light switch on. I mean, I don't understand. I think all that stuff's fine. But in the day, boy, you got to have some reliable power, right?
Well, I mean, farmers have been the champions of renewable energy for decades, right? And we've always said we want to be part of and should be a part of the solution. But what we're seeing is exactly what Grandma always warned of. Don't put all your eggs into one basket.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a skewing of policies to one set of energy sources. We are taking reliable, effective, affordable power generation offline faster than we're putting these intermittent sources on. And now people wonder why we're talking about black and brownouts. It's a no-brainer. Like these policies, we are essentially intentionally destabilizing the grid. And now people are rushing to make up for it with more solar farms, more wind, and guess what? More transmission. And they want Missouri to be the transmission superhighway of the United States.
Tell me about the Farm Bill. Where's it at? Every time, I don't think I've ever interviewed you when I didn't ask you about the Farm Bill, and you didn't say, well, it's they're working on it.
Yeah, well, I was starting to get worked up, so that was a nice transition there. Farm Bill, unfortunately, we're operating under an extension. The Farm Bill should have been done September 30th of last year. Congress punted. They've given us essentially another year. So that while that is security, I would point out the fact, think about how much has changed in the United States and the world since the last Farm Bill was passed 5+ years ago. The Farm Bill needs to be updated to truly reflect the risks that we face today. And frankly, we need something that we've been championing here in Missouri a lot is common sense conservation. We want to see some reforms in the conservation title to make sure that we have tools in the toolbox to build upon the success that we have shown here in Missouri.
Realistically, though, September 30th seems like an ambitious date, but maybe after the elections, right? I talked to one of our U.S. senators, and he thought, well, September 30th isn't real. But, you have that lame duck session after the elections. You could see something getting done then.
Potentially. I mean, their work, the leaders of the committees are still continuing to have conversations. It's just, let's face it, Scott, we have a Congress that is struggling to get past 3 months on appropriations bills right now. So, yes, there could be, when there's essentially a letting of the air out of the balloon after the elections, there could be an opportunity. We're certainly not going to give up. We're going to continue to hammer it. I mean, but goodness gracious, we actually need a functioning Congress right now.
We're going to be, appreciate the invitation today, we're going to be back here Tuesday night.
Yep.
Our State's Woman of the Year this year, Cindy Olafen's going to be our stateswoman. Appreciate y'all hosting us. Hope everybody will come out and join us. Going to be a very fun night. Always a good time. Kind of gets everybody together, both sides of the aisle, every branch of Missouri government. It's a good time to honor someone who's one of ours, North Missouri, Shelbina, but a good person.
Senator Olafen is fantastic. I appreciate her tenacity, the relationship she has with our members.
Yep.
She always tells it like it is, and that is such a breath of fresh air when you think about the policy and political world. So it's neat that you're honoring her. We've been certainly proud to partner with you. This Farm Bureau Center belongs to our members. And truly, when you think about where it sits and the space that we have, we truly are proud to be able to open the doors and welcome people from all perspectives in here into what is the home of agriculture in rural Missouri.
Well, I got a little peacock, a little bragging. Gary Noakes from down St. Clair County, your neck of the woods, gave me a collection of buttons, and one of them was a Kit Bond from 72 button. I like that. That's speaking my language.
That is awesome.
Well, I appreciate the time. It is a very good time to be a Missouri Farm Bureau member. Thank you for the hospitality.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
You bet. And we'll be right back with our panel. We're going to bring Todd Hayes from Marion County up here after this.
For more than a century, the St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped our communities. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. Turning Missouri into a right-to-work state stalls progress, wipes out jobs, and kills momentum. Right to work is wrong for everyone. Let's keep Missouri moving forward. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
We all know puppy mills, cruelty, neglect, and pet store puppies are at high risk for disease, even death. We expect our laws to protect dogs, but now an out-of-state company called Petland is trying to change our state law to enable puppy mill cruelty. We all know it'll hurt the dogs we love. Contact your state legislators. Tell them, protect our dogs. Vote no on the cruelty. Vote no on the harmful puppy mill bill.
All throughout Missouri, businesses are struggling to find workers. Childcare challenges are a big reason why. Our kids are losing out too. Through high-impact early childhood investments, we can support the workforce of today and better prepare our workforce of tomorrow. Empower families with the resources they need to succeed. Reduce crime and avoid costly interventions, saving taxpayers money. Together, we can make Missouri the best place to work, raise a family, and be a kid.
Data captured by our state-of-the-art monitors helps us pinpoint the timing and location of severe weather more accurately and respond to trouble more quickly. Ameren Missouri's investment in smart technologies like this is one way we're improving reliability and restoring power faster than ever. Responding to trouble before trouble hits. That's energy at work. Ameren, Missouri.
Welcome back to our This Week in Missouri Politics annual show here at the Farm Bureau Legislative Days at the Farm Bureau building in Jeff City. Thank you all for sticking around and having us. I appreciate it. We're here with Stan Coday from down in Wright County. Thank you for the time, sir.
Good to be here.
Chris Brundick down in Marys County. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Todd Hayes from over in Marion County. Appreciate you making the time. Let's jump right in. Big news happened out of the legislative day, endorsing Mike Keogh for governor. I know that kind of it feels a little early, but it felt like an energized room last night. It felt like everybody was pretty well itched up and ready to go.
I believe so, Scott. Our members are really excited about the opportunity to support Mike and his efforts to be governor. He's always done a great job supporting agriculture at all his times with the state, and he's a farmer. He knows what the issues are. He's easy to talk to, and he relates to all the citizens of Missouri in a lot of different ways, as a businessman, to a farmer, to a legislator, and I think he's going to be a great job as a governor. So we're excited to support him and work hard for his campaign to get him elected.
Chris, it's nice to be able to support folks that support ag and rural Missouri policies, but it's also nice when you get to support an actual person he's a farmer himself.
I bought a truck from him back in 1989, and then we got a relationship, knew each other, and he bought alfalfa from me back then, So Mike's been involved.
So the truck ran well.
I still got it. Still have it. Yeah,
that is a good deal.
Yeah. I don't know if he knows about that. I still got a couple warranty things I'd like to get done. Anyway, no, I mean, it's true. Mike has been a good friend of Missouri Farm Bureau, and yesterday was a great example of our grassroots policymaking. So I was happy to see that we got the endorsement done, and it maybe wasn't scheduled for yesterday, but that just shows you the flexibility that our grassroots PAC committee allows.
Was there last night. The room felt electric. It just felt like folks were fired and ready to go on all fronts, but on that one too.
I agree. I mean, it's time. Yep. I mean, it's time. We need to get at it, and that's what we do. We work for the people that represent us, work with us.
Stan, it's interesting. Nobody puts more miles on that truck than Mike Keogh. I mean, he is everywhere. I mean, if you ain't shook a person, if you haven't met a person that had shook Mike Keogh's hand in Missouri, you just don't get out much, right?
That's right. And it's been enjoyable for me because representing the district that I do in South Central Missouri, Mike has been at annual meetings. He actually was at our Wright County annual meeting last fall. And I stepped up and congratulated him last night for the endorsement. He teased me. He said, we may be seeing a lot more of each other. And I said, well, I hope that's the case.
Let's talk health plans. Chris, it's frustrating to me to see some rural Missourians vote against rural Missouri, but it's really frustrating to see these leadership races. And sometimes our rural folks vote for folks who come out and say, hey, I'm not doing anything for you. I'm against you. And they vote for him anyway. Are we too nice?
Are we too nice? I'm going to say yes. And I think that this health care plan thing is where you're going to see a lot of anger, I think, that if these people don't get behind this. I mean, I got the opportunity to testify at the House Committee, the Ag Committee, on our rural health care plans. And I told the people that I wish I was on their side of that desk where we sat, because on that side of the desk, they could make a decision that would really help rural people. And, here it is. We're trying to get young people back to the farm. But I also look at this health care plan like it's insurance for the state of Missouri. Because as long as $98 billion infrastructure or economic benefit to the state and food security that we produce. The governor was talking this morning about Israel and Greece importing 80% of that. We don't do that here in Missouri. We're pretty self-sufficient, but we've got to have young people coming back to the farm in order to do that, or we will be reliant.
Benny Cook's your rep, right?
No, sir. Well, actually, technically, for Marys County, Benny Cook. I actually live in Osage, so it's Bruce Sassman, but I know Benny well.
Where are they both at on this?
Well, they say they're behind us. So,
Stan, I love the button you got on. Is that a button or a sticker? I can't tell. Sticker. I like it. Down Wright County, I've always thought of Hannah Kelly. She gonna be with rural Missouri?
She says that she is.
Yeah, I think that's important. Todd, you've been fighting this fight since there was a fight to fight. I just don't understand. Blaming the city people is one thing. We're going to blame our own folks if they don't vote for us, or if they vote for people that won't let us cast a vote, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Scott. And in Northeast Missouri, we only have one provider that we in the counties that I live in. So we're really limited, and the cost of insurance is tremendous, especially if folks don't qualify for a subsidy for Affordable Care Act. So therefore, people to get insurance, a lot of them are going to work in town. So that takes somebody out of the house, somebody away from the home. When I grew up, a lot of these folks grew up, somebody was always at home when you got home from school for the kids. So this is putting more pressure on that, stress on families. So, people are coming back maybe to the small area, rural areas to work on the farm, but they've got to go work in town also just for the insurance because they can't afford individual care. This gives them an option for those that fall in that little donut hole. It gives them an option, another way to find something that's more affordable and keep people on the farm and keep them in the rural areas to support our communities there.
Folks up in northeast Missouri, are they on the side of folks in northeast Missouri?
Yes, they are.
Chris, let me ask you a question. I feel sometimes like we live in a modern-day Yellowstone, right? All these city people, they have their own ideas of what to do with the Dutton Ranch, right? Or all the Dutton Ranches around the country. I've never seen a group of people that would look you right in the eye and say, well, what's mine is mine, and then we'll tell you what to do with yours, too.
Well, I don't think that's anything new. But I certainly do think that, as you said, the modern-day Yellowstone has exposed the people that have been following that. It has exposed some of the challenges of being a landowner, and what's mine is mine is mine. It's not yours. And that's why Farm Bureau does a great job of defending property rights. And as I'm sure you're alluding to, the green energy web and transmission lines, and this is something near and dear to us that we're going to take a stand on it. We already are.
I tell you what, there's folks that did that clean line, right, up through North Missouri, and they took folks' land for private property use, and they would do it again, except for Farm Bureau. I don't think there's any question if Farm Bureau hadn't stood up, planted a flag on the ground, they'd be doing it all over the state.
Well, we're really not there yet, Scott. We've got a lot more work to do on that. I mean, HB 2005, right? HB 2005, all we did was got 150% of the value of those takings as compensation. Providing energy has always been on the back of rural America and primarily farmers, going all the way back to the REA days when they gave right-of-ways away. The idea of taking land for a not an investor-owned or a co-op, but for private entities to have the use of eminent domain to steal property's land, I think it ought to be a whole lot more than 150%. But they're still going to continue to do it, and we're going to get in their way as much as we possibly can.
Stan, this fight doesn't stop, does it? I mean, it never does stop.
No. Yeah. Down in our part of the world, we have lots of lettered roads that wind and curve. And I know my grandfather said one time when I asked him, why do these roads not run straight? He said, because when they were building the roads, the property owner wouldn't sell them the land. And they didn't have the right for eminent domain. And so they had to make deals with the landowners. And the idea that we can just go in because we want a straight shot on these power lines and because it's convenient for us and take someone's property is not what Farm Bureau stands for. We're going to fight for property rights for owners in Missouri farmland till the last breath.
The fight never does stop, does it, Todd? It never stops.
No, it sure doesn't, Scott. And we're going to continue that, working hard, working with landowners, and put some teeth into some things for future projects. We know Missouri is the center of where a lot of this stuff's going to come from the western plains to try to get to the East Coast. So we're right in the thoroughfare in northern Missouri. It's primary, it's smooth, it's flat in a lot of those areas. They don't have a lot of obstacles, so that's kind of where they're looking at. And in extreme southern Missouri, there are going to be projects looked at down there, and we're trying to get ahead of that and give our landowners more protection.
Can't let you leave without talking about infrastructure. I-70, big deal. It's even a big deal for us that don't live on I-70. It'll rise the tide for this whole state. But when you talk about some of these lettered highways, having Senator Dan Hageman on the Highway Commission, boy, I tell you, if you live on I-70, you got a lot of folks who care about you. If you live on an old lettered highway like I grew up on, M Highway in West Butler County, it's good to have Dan Hageman caring about those folks.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And I know Dan will do a great job representing all of us from rural areas on that commission and speak up. And yeah, the letter roads are the ones that have been neglected for so many years. We get out off the interstates. So a lot of our products, all the products are coming in off the farms, coming from gravel roads to letter roads to get to those major highways. So we've got to have some better infrastructure on the letter roads. I know we've got some funds that have been appropriated for the last few years, additional money going to lettered roads to get some things done. It's been neglected. It's going to take a lot of time and effort. Additional bridges need to be replaced, and there's hiccups there, but we're moving in the right direction. We just got to make sure that the commission still focuses on that and doesn't forget about us in the rural areas.
Chris, good Governor Parson, good Polk County guy. He fixed a bunch of bridges. I thought it was they identified the worst ones, and they've been after fixing some of them.
They've been working on them in our area, I can tell you that. You know, that $100 million that has been appropriated for the back roads, as you like to call them, you know, it's going a long way, but you got to start with bridges. I mean, you know, we've got a lot of old infrastructure in this country, and getting these, it's inconvenient when these roads are out of commission, when you have no bridge, but when it's done, it's something that's necessary.
So let me ask you, in our neck of the woods, every innovation has drove folks to the cities. Rural broadband has a chance to let folks grow up in Wright County and live the life they want to live and still have a good job and provide for their family.
The governor, when he was here this morning, said that the plan is in 5 years that everyone in the state of Missouri will have a usable broadband or internet.
That's awesome.
And I hope that we can see that, because in my former life, I was an ag teacher. I told my students many times, you're going to have to farm in a different way than what we did in my generation and before. You're going to have new ideas and new technology, and broadband and the internet is one of those things that young people today are going to have if they're going to be successful in agriculture, and to be able to live in rural communities and have the type of living, to be able to have an enjoyable living out in the country.
Well, the men left, who won the week?
I'm going to go with the Senate, especially Senate leadership, getting initiative petition passed through there. That's a big step. That's very important to us. We've got to do some corrections on that to make it a little harder to get that done. I mean, I like to tell people I have a legal right to purchase some beer, but I have a constitutional right to purchase marijuana. So I think we need to look at how we're doing things.
You're speaking my language. You won the week, Chris.
I think that Lieutenant Governor Mike Keogh has to be my winner for the week. He's come a long way this week, and we're going to do everything we can to support him.
Won the week.
As a retired ag teacher, I've got to say Missouri FFA, 27,000 members that we have celebrated. We saw the governor driving his tractor to across the Capitol this week. And, you know, it's not just those members, but it's the state that wins, because we're providing leadership for the future.
Ain't nothing like seeing them blue jackets and a horde there walking on the steps of the Capitol. I'm going to say Senator Jason Bean and former Farm Bureau President Charlie Cruz. He had his taste of the South last week and honored Charlie Cruz, the first guy that ever said I'd get a soda out of the soda machine here back, a long time ago. I'd say they won the week, and thank you again to everybody here at Farm Bureau for having us. We will see you again next year and even before that. Thank you.
This Week in Missouri Politics is sponsored by the Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, Ameren, Spire, and the United Electric Cooperative.